my God. Okay, now. Warte mal. Okay. I leave you alone.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Hannah. Nice to see you. This is nice. The song bookstore. This is what I want to show off to you. And I'm Christian. It's very nice to meet you in person. And where are you at? You sit in front of a white wall.
This is my working room, so it's very boring. And we're in the middle of a heat wave right now. So my brain is melting already. So I hope this will go well. What temperatures? Are you in Berlin?
Yes, we are in Berlin, and thanks for granting us an interview. I just, for everybody to know, you're Dutch and you write columns, essays, and novels. And in Germany, we got to know you with one novel already. It's called Flauschig. It's about a group of guys, and then there's this fluffy ball that enters their life, and everybody turns upside down. And now you come up with new hard facts, and it's a new novel, and it's published by Hansa Berlin. And this is what it looks like in Germany, and it's called Dieser Beitrag wurde entfernt. And I think it's outrageous. I really hailed your book very much, and it's about the dark side of the internet. And it's about virtual reality. It's about deleting comments. So, how did you come up with this? Are you some kind of an expert for the internet?
Well, I wouldn't say an expert, but I've always been interested in the internet. So my dad was one of the first people in the Netherlands to have internet. He was like a hacker and a hobby guy. And when I was like 11, I did a show and tell in middle school about the computer. So I brought a computer and I tore it apart, and I was like telling, this is the motherboard, not really understanding myself what I was saying. But so I have always a hobby like interest, and I am an internet fan. Actually, after reading this book, a lot of people think I'm not, but I am. I'm a tech optimist in the end. But with this particular topic, I think I first read about this in 2018. There was an article in a major Dutch newspaper about a Dutch content moderator who worked in Berlin, actually, for a subcontractor. So that's kind of a call center-like company, like Hexa in the book. That is not the tech company itself. It's a subcontractor that is hiring these people. And his subcontractor call center actually was hired by Facebook. So this Dutch guy worked in Berlin to moderate the Dutch Facebook content. So that's a mouthful. And I remember, the thing that drew me into the article was the question, so what do these people see all day? And of course, that's kind of a sensational, almost banal approach to the topic, but it is often the frame that mainstream media use whenever they handle this topic, and it is what drew me in. But as I read, that article, which was a very good article, and as I did a little more research, because there's more articles about it, there's more content about it. My question kind of shifted from, so what do these people see, to, so what does that mean? What does that do to their perception of reality? What does that do with their feeling and sense of normalcy? And that's a topic I'm always interested in, like what is normal and who gets to decide. It's like in all of my books, that topic is kind of woven into there. So that was another thing that drew me in. And then a topic I'm also very interested in is community. And it kind of collides with my interest in internet, because internet is a way to build community. But in my research, I read that these content moderators actually become very close, not always, but sometimes they become very close because they don't get to talk about the things, or they don't want to talk about the things they see at work. So they have each other. They kind of share a job, but sometimes they share a trauma. And I was interested in that, work floor dynamic also. And of course, this is a very specific work floor. I'm always interested in work floor dynamics, but this is like such a crazy work floor. So it made me wonder even more what those dynamics look like, or could look like.
Well, let me try to sum up this for once, because for people who haven't read your book yet, it's about the internet, and it's about pics and films that might be harmful to us, and it's about as you mentioned, Berlin and Germany, for instance, in 2015, our foreign minister came up with a task force, and he decided together with Facebook and Google and YouTube to delete hate comments within 24 hours. And not only be aware of them, they wanted to delete them within 1 day only. So
Yeah.
do you believe mission completed, or did they fail?
Well, I don't know. You wrote this to me and I was kind of amazed by that, because Facebook and Twitter, they're two different companies, but they have their own policies. And I know they do need to adhere to the specific rules in a country. So there is countries, for example, where it is forbidden to deny the Holocaust, and then there is countries where that is allowed, where that is legal. So they do need to listen to that. So if Germany would have set its own rules, they would need to apply them. But I don't know what the situation is in Germany right now, and I find it quite naive almost to set these rules for all these different companies, because, for example, like a newspaper would also have his comment section, but that newspaper is moderated by probably a freelancer hired by that newspaper. So would that freelancer and newspaper also have to adhere to those German rules? I guess so, but how would you check that? So it feels kind of messy. But then again, I'm always for legislation. I think one of the answers in kind of regulating this tech mess we're in right now is regulation. So maybe it's naive. On the other hand, it's an attempt, and every attempt, I guess, is good.
Any story is about one of these regulators. Your main character, her name is Kelly. She's a college dropout. She's always broke. So she longs for a job very much, and she gets a contract with Hexa, which is a main, let's say, internet company. And she starts off as a customer care agent. So it's on her to decide which pics or films are supposed to be deleted, but there are rules to it. And there are some protected groups and there are some non-protected groups. So maybe you can tell us something about the philosophy of Hexa and what are protected groups and which aren't protected.
Yeah, okay, so that kind of, with the other question, with the German company saying we have to remove hate speech, of course the question is, what is hate speech and who gets to decide, and that kind of goes back to that question of what is normal and who gets to decide, which I find very, very interesting. So Hexa is a call center and they are hired by a platform. And in the book, it says they cannot name the platform, but in reality, I did base the rules Hexa uses for the platform. They were based on the rules that Facebook used in 2018 because they were leaked. So you have to imagine these moderators, they work with moderator guidelines, and these are the rules that tell them what do they need to remove and what do they get to put up. But they change like almost every day, so it's almost impossible to learn them by heart. And in 2018, these Facebook rules were leaked. These guideline moderators were leaked to The Guardian, so they're actually still online. There's these slides telling content moderators about what they should delete. And you were talking about protected categories, so we are talking about hate speech now, written messages. For instance, gay people, but also heterosexuals are a protected category. So if you have a sentence with gay people as a subject, I'm using this feels like a safe example because I'm a gay person myself. So as a subject, that needs to be removed. So if it says all gay people suck, that is hate speech because gay people are the subject. And when it says all Muslims suck, that is also hate speech because Muslims actually are a protected category. But when the Muslims or the gay people are not the subject, like in a sentence that goes, all terrorists are gay or all terrorists are Muslim. Terrorist is the subject, but terrorist is not a protected category. So then it gets to stay up. So that kind of illustrates how difficult it can be, with these rules. And then another difficulty is, of course,
so it's all about shifting words in certain orders to fulfill the rule.
Yeah, and there's a lot of difficulties. For example, animal cruelty. So when a dog gets hit, that is animal cruelty. So that needs to be removed. But, we also have to look at the context. So when the text message will say, this can never happen again, and then we see a video of a dog getting hit, that needs to stay up because that's a warning. So, it's very vague sometimes, but in the end, there is kind of a logic to it. And then sometimes there's not. But, these tech companies try to kind of have a logic to it. And I don't want to say that that is wrong, because we do need guidelines. I mean, well, we don't, it's a commercial company, so we shouldn't care in the end, but they need rules to like keep their product safe in their own words. But I'm mostly fascinated by the way these rules are shaped, because they're kind of vaguely based on a Western sense of morality that is kind of rooted in Christianity, vaguely. But then again, these rules are all about what the tech company thinks the shareholder will think that the user will want to see. So they're also based on a commercial philosophy mostly. So you get this weird jumble jingle of morality colliding with commercial ideas of what is wrong and right. And I'm mostly fascinated by that, more so than I'm here to judge that or to say, well, that is wrong. I think it tells
May I interview you for once? Because like I was very fascinated also because of you or Hexa twisting the truth. It's always like, to me, when you first read your novel, it seems like, okay, there's a certain rule, but you can twist it around and then it turns into a different rule. Just as you said, like it's all a matter of subjects and objects, and there's so many examples in the book, but there's like this biggie about cats, like little kittens. You can show kittens in every certain way, and you can do all strange things to kittens, and unless you don't throw them out of the window. So there is some end of the rules also. And in order to become such a guardian of the internet like Kelly, do you need to be capable of something in special? Do you need certain skills to apply for a job like this?
Well, I think every moderator will cope in his or her own way. And with Kaylee, I think for her, she gamifies her job. So she's here to get a lot of points. You get a rating at the end of every day saying how much points you got. Well, not every subcontractor, not every call center works like this, but some rate their employees, and some will hate that, and others will find that very motivating. And I think Kaylee is one of those employees who actually finds that very motivating. For her, it's all about getting a high rating. For her, it's all about being good at her job. And of course, that does help, with getting some fulfillment for it. But in the end, the job does affect her. I wouldn't say it affects her maybe as much as some of her other colleagues. She has colleagues that also try to find answers in alcohol abuse. And they're actually, in my research, I did find that a lot of content, not every content, let's say some content moderators actually do try to kind of, when they're overstimulated by everything they saw, they kind of try to, how do you say, I'm not sure how you say it in English, but they drink to kind of put that part of them asleep. You know what I mean?
Would you say, like, working for Hexa, you need to be schizophrenic in a way also, because like everybody working there, at the very end, that they lead two lives. There's a working life, and they have to work against a stopwatch. They had to watch so many horrible pics in films. But later on, for instance, Kelly, she loves to hang out with people she works with. She goes for a drink, and once they drink, they'll yell out and they scream and they say nasty things to each other. They would have deleted in the internet. So they're somehow in between, and this is in a way schizophrenic, don't you think?
Well, first of all, these people are like you and me, right? They're regular, normal people who got a very special job. So when I'm writing about these people, I'm writing about humans, I guess, about humanity, how humans would react. And then, of course, there's a part in the book that was based on research also, where they go to a bar and they kind of use the hate speech, use the jokes, the racist jokes, the homophobic jokes that they are supposed to remove. They kind of joke, they use those jokes. And then Kaylee kind of tries to figure why they did that. And then she says, well, maybe we try to ironize it, and maybe that was a coping mechanism. You know, you see all these horrible things and you joke about them. Joking is often a coping mechanism. But then she says, she's thinking like she's like thinking about this, she's analyzing it, and then she says, well, maybe it wasn't a coping mechanism, maybe we just thought it was funny by the time, so she wasn't sure anymore. And I found that very interesting, because this is about that question of normalcy on two different layers. You know, they see these comments, so that's one, this is where they might base their sense of normalcy on. You know, if you see this hate speech every day, you might think that everybody's thinking like that everybody is kind of slurring, putting out these slurs all day. And on the other hand, it had become normal within this group of colleagues to joke about that. So there's these two planes of normalcy and these two examples of community that kind of clash there. And then as a content moderator, of course, you are always, you know, navigating these different planes of morality, these different planes of reality, because one, that you have the moderator guidelines that are kind of arbitrary, that are based on commercial ideology. Then, of course, you have your own morality, the things that you believe in, the things that you were taught when you grew up. And then there's this group morality you share with your colleagues about what is right and what is wrong and what is funny and what is not, and how do we cope. So those are like two different planes of reality that they navigate, and that I kind of try to navigate in the book, because I am always interested in like belief systems, in personal realities, and the way they clash.
Well, talking about moralities, you drink something, I have a coffee also, so it feels like hanging around with you, and like, imagine like the two of us in a pub and we drank a bit, and this maybe then I would have dared to ask a question. So let's skip drinking, and I dare to ask a question. Is there some nasty job you've done yourself? Have you done something? Have you ever done or fulfilled a job you would say, well, I did something which was in a way not legal or unmoral?
Oh, like in a job? I don't think so. I don't think I ever did a job that was illegal. For research for this book, I did a job that was very legal. Of course, content moderating is very legal. I did HITs. So those are human intelligent tasks, HITs. And I also mentioned them in the book very briefly, but those are tasks that you do on the internet, but that can only be done by humans. So for example, when you buy a concert ticket and you need to do verification, and Google or the Ticketmaster website will say, how many bikes do you see in this picture? That's actually a human intelligent tasks. So when you can do those for platforms, and I subscribe to different platforms to do those. And I was hoping that I would get a moderating task, because I knew there were HITs out there that were moderating tasks. But the first thing I got to do was I had to, it's so hot right now. Let me see what the word is. My brain is completely melting. I got an address book, and I had to get a LinkedIn profile, and I had to check if that address book was the same as the data on the LinkedIn profile. And I had to do that for hours and hours and hours, and I got 40 cents an hour. And that kind of taught me what it feels like to do a robot-like job. And the irony is that this was a human intelligent task, only to be done by humans, but it actually felt dehumanized. So that was by far the suckiest job I ever did. And I kind of used that in the book when one of the content moderators says he's going to quit his job. He says he doesn't feel quite human anymore. I got that from that experience, because sometimes it would say, oh, you're wrong. This address is actually correct. Wow, I would see it was not correct, and there was no one I could go to, because there was just the platform that gave me this HIT, that gave me this human intelligence task. So that was not an illegal job, but it was one.
I'm sorry, but but let's get more human again and skip the internet for once. This is not only a story about deleting comments, engagement, it's also a love story. And it's a love story between Kelly and Secret. And so when people enter Geistesblüten, of course, I want to tell them it's a love story also. It's not what you expect to be a love story, why? But it's somehow something that that occurs. There's another girl. She's called Secret, and she wears this tight leather jacket, and it takes a while for Kelly to be attracted to her, but she notices her the minute she got to know her. So tell us about Secret.
Yeah, so first of all, I found it very important that the book had a love story, not just because every book needs a love story, but also because I think this is very much connected to the theme. Because I think in the end, you know, love is nothing more than a clash of realities. Because when you fall in love with someone, or well, when you get intimate, let's say when you get intimate with someone, when you build an intimate relationship, so this could also be a close friend, you get confronted with yourself. You know, that other person functions as a mirror, not just because that other person will tell you that the things you are doing are weird or funny or whatever, also because that person might do things in another way. So it makes you think, oh, is the way I do things, is the way I think about things the normal way or the right way? So I find that very interesting aspect of a relationship. And then with Secret and Kaylee, you know, a very important difference between them is the way they cope. The way they cope with their jobs. Secret actually kind of wants to talk about it. She sees one, I'm not going to tell too much about this, but she sees one particular video that disturbs her very much. And the moment when she tries to, you know, talk about that with Kaylee, Kaylee doesn't really want that. She asks, so what did you see? But she doesn't really want to ask that question, because for her, you know, her coping mechanism is to keep the things they see at the job and not bring them into their home. So she actually gets kind of irritated, frustrated with Secret bringing that language about the things they saw into her home. So that's another very important aspect of that relationship, I think. And in the end, that relationship blows up because they
don't give this away.
No, just because they end up. I'm not going to
don't give this away. Because like as everybody else, I believe it. I trust the reality clash. So okay. Let's skip this. There's this group of people who delete. There's this group of people who are in charge, and there's a third person coming up. It's a lawyer who wants to sue Hexa for the services, for the way they treat their employees. And this is what Kelly's testimony is needed for. Why doesn't Kelly consider herself to be a victim?
Well, I'm not sure if she doesn't consider herself to be a victim. I mean, she doesn't want to work with him. So she doesn't want to be part of his court case. So this lawyer, Mr. Stetik, actually, he in the beginning of the book, we learned that he's been calling her and he's been wanting her to be part of a court case because he's suing the tech company together with some of her former colleagues. So we learned that she is not in contact anymore with these colleagues. And she keeps saying, I don't want to be part of the court case. But she's not saying that she doesn't feel she's a victim. I think the reason she doesn't want to be in that because she's ashamed of some things that happened, and that she might see, I don't want to spoil, but I think she sees herself as the opposite of a victim. Am I spoiling with that?
Yeah,
So
in a
I
way.
don't think she doesn't see, she might see herself as a victim, but I don't think that's the first thing. She has other things on her mind, and she has other reasons not to participate in that court case.
Yeah, translation in German lasts about 100 pages, and the people who listen to us are like, because I will, of course, I will retype our interview. I might shrink it a little bit, but it feels like it's a book of 500 pages, and it's so, because it's so full of any aspects.
Cool.
I'm very thankful you granted us this interview. I'm just curious, do you like how do you use the internet yourself? Do you try to avoid the internet? Do you read comments people send to you all the time, or do you just skip them, or is there somebody beside of you reading the comments and deleting?
Oh no, I wish. No, so I have a system. I have rules myself. So first of all, I can show them. There's two phones in my life. So I can't, okay, one of them is downstairs, so that says it all. I have a smartphone. This is my smartphone. And then I have another phone that was considered a smartphone back in 2013 when it came out, but it is now considered a dumb phone. So I have a phone from 2013 I use during the day, and it can only send text messages, and I can call with it. And then my smartphone, I consider it to be a toy. This is a toy. So it doesn't have a SIM card. I cannot call with it. It has Wi-Fi, so I can go on Wi-Fi when I'm at home or when I'm in a train or something like that, but not when I'm outside. So I don't have Google Maps. I need to just remember where I'm going every day. So that's one thing to kind of protect myself, because social media are very addictive, but I do like them. You know, I do see a purpose in them. So it's not like I don't want to be on there, or I'm saying that you shouldn't be on there. And then I used to be in Twitter, but I logged out in 2018 or something after some kind of Twitter storm. I used to be a columnist and get Twitter storms all the time. And I was like, I don't need this anymore. I'm not a columnist anymore. Not because of that, but well, it was one of the reasons maybe. And I was like, I don't need to know what everybody's thinking all the time. And also I'm a writer, so I didn't want to be writing outside my job. So I still have an account because I've got a lot of followers, and I'm always thinking like, if there's a problem, if shit hits the fan, at least I can reach these people. But I logged out to never return again. So that's that. And Instagram is my main platform. Of course, that's Meta. That's still Mark Zuckerberg. There's still a lot of things wrong with that, but that's where I connect with friends. I don't have WhatsApp, so I use Instagram chat as a chat program. But Instagram is not so hateful. You don't get a lot of hate speech. It's about images, which I like because I love taking photos, and it's different than writing. So I'm mostly on there, and Facebook is just where my parents are. So I'm not on there a lot, and I never go into discussions. I just never do. I see my parents do that. You know, they're lefties, they're old school lefties, and they will go like into every discussion. And I'm like, no man, that's how they generate their money. I'm not going to waste my time. You're never going to win. And why would you do that? So I just post pictures. That's the short version. In the evening after 7.
So we will send you some pictures from Germany, from Berlin. And again, I'm very thankful. I wish someday I will meet you in person and I will tour you around. And
yeah.
In fact, this is quite early in the morning. This is before we open our store. And so for everybody to know, saying thanks for rising up early and and talking to us. And I wish you the best for your book.
Thank you.
Is there some outline, some very last words you want to say? Is there something you want, some prediction for us about the internet you want to reveal?
No, I don't think so. I'm glad we did it early because it's 30 degrees here already. We're gonna hit 40 today. So yeah.
So happy birthday.
No, I'm not gonna hit 40, like the temperature.
I'm okay.
In the heat wave,
because you don't look it. Okay.
Well, actually, I'm 38, but my birthday is in February.
Okay. Thanks for everything, and hope to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. This was fun.
Bye, Hannah.
Bye, Mark in the back.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.